Yes, good morning everyone. Yes, 31st May 2022. Yes, so the important news is that yesterday result of civil service examination conducted by UPSC in 2021 was released. You can see top 3 in the list are women. Okay, so it is good to see such kind of delighting result also. Also, Lukmaan IS, like every year, has given a very good result. Okay, and you may be, let's say, seeing all this in the Telegram group and the WhatsApp. So you may have received how Lukmaan IS has also fared very well, very good in this year's result also. Okay, so yes, let us find out the important articles. Although most of the newspaper is UPSC results and classes and their advertisement, but yes, some of the important articles are there. Come to editorial page number 6. Yes, very good article written on page number 6, doses of statecraft to meet India's challenges. So MK Narayan, he is former director of IB, former NSA. Okay, so he is having the first hand experience to deal with the security challenges faced by India. So in this article he is talking about reducing the complete dependence on security establishment or security forces by the political, let's say, executives or the government whenever such kind of security challenges appear. Rather, there should be more shift in the focus towards dealing with the situation through policies and programs. Okay, so there should be shift in the, let's say, how to deal with these challenges, right? So this is called as statecraft. That's what he is talking, that's what Chanakya had talked about in Arthashastra, statecraft. Okay, how politically deal with, let's say, security challenges. ठीक है, तो वो चीज़ें यहाँ पे मेंशन की है. Some of the examples of security challenges are also mentioned in the article. So we will discuss those examples. GS3 paper, security part, internal security. Okay. Yes, other articles, they are not relevant to our examination that much. Now on page number 8, text and context page, the status of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So we are having this follow up on how this war is progressing, how it is evolving, the situation so far, and how Russia has advanced in the Ukraine, all these positions. The map is also given. We will let's say have the follow up from IR section, GS2 paper. On bottom side, India's changing goalposts over coal. Now the article gives very good data related to India's dependence on coal at present, how the present coal crisis is evolving. Along with that, our, let's say, objective from shifting from coal based power generation to natural gas, let's say, based power production. ठीक है, तो हमारे फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर ने पहले ये बोला था कि वी आर लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड फॉर सच काइंड ऑफ ट्रांजिशन, बट ड्यू टू इंक्रीज्ड natural gas prices in the international market, we are not able to do that, and our dependence on coal continues. ठीक है, तो वो डेटा भी हम लिख के लेंगे, लेटेस्ट डेटा लिखा हुआ है वहाँ पे, हम डायरेक्टली हमारे मेंस एग्जामिनेशन में यूज़ कर सकते हैं. नाउ मूविंग ऑन. Yes, come to page number 12 directly. Yes, Prime Minister Modi releases PM Cares benefits for COVID orphans. So this particular PM Cares for children orphaned due to pandemic. This details of scheme in we can say February months we had covered, but again we'll revise this from government schemes perspective. What are the details of this government scheme? Okay. Yes, on page number 13 on international relations page, 10 Pacific Island nations reject China Security Pact. You should be aware that China was negotiating a security pact with Pacific Island nations, and together these Pacific Island nations have negated this let's say Chinese initiative here. So you should be aware about how China is we can say taking actions, or we can say counter actions against US in or US led group in Indo-Pacific region. तो हमने देखा है recently Quad meeting happened. Okay, so US had launched this initiative of Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity in Indo-Pacific region. So basically it wants to counter these initiatives or pivot to Asia initiative of US in Indo-Pacific region. It wanted to reduce the dominance of US in these Pacific island nations. ठीक है, तो details वहाँ पे mention किए हैं. So you should be having follow up on this aspect also. ठीक है, so these are the important articles. We quickly will revise them. Yes. Screen is blur. Whether it is due to your internet connection or problem is faced by all students. Okay, just wait for a moment. So it is audible, right? At present it is audible. Okay. So for time being we'll continue. They are looking into it. Okay. So first article, doses of statecraft to meet India's challenges. Okay, so here the word statecraft is unique. This can be used in framing of the question in GS2 paper IR section. Also those having PSIR optional subject. Okay, the statecraft. But before that, the article talks about limitations of security vigil. So whenever security challenges appear before the country, what happens is largely there is some kind of, let's say, dependence on security forces, or we can say a firefighting approach. The last minute they are completely dependent on, we can say, the security establishment to deal with security challenges. So there is lack of appropriate comprehension of these security challenges. Okay, they are not able to foresee these challenges or how they will evolve, how they will have some manifestation in other aspects of society or nation. So यहाँ पे ये जो dependence है उसके limitations है. Why? Because this is basically last resort. Whenever we are dealing with the challenge, it is a kind of last resort. Okay, directly it will have face off with those anti-national or we can say non-state actors having this security challenge or let's say posing this security challenge. Yes. Second, it is very good reactive approach. It is reactive approach. Third thing you should know, it is not providing any long lasting solution. Okay, because it is leading to violence, and in violence what will happen? There will be killing of innocents. Again it is fueling the same kind of challenge. ठीक है, तो it is not providing lasting solution, long lasting solution, or we can say sustainable solution. So that's why we can say that it is limited option. Now what does statecraft involve? Let's understand this one. The statecraft involves the complete comprehension of the security challenges faced by the country. Second thing we should know, it means or it involves shift from dependence on security challenges or security establishments to policies and programs. Now policies and programs, they are implemented by government agencies, okay, not security agencies per se, and therefore basically it focuses more on political aspects, finding the political solution to security challenges, right? So this is called as statecraft. And yes, the idea first of all was given in India by Chanakya or Kautilya in Arthashastra. Okay, he focused more on statecraft. He was not directly in favor of having war or aggression, rather he was of the view of solving through negotiation, arbitration. कोई भी प्रॉब्लम, हाँ, तो उनका जो फिलोसॉफी था साम दाम दंड भेद, सो ऑफ कोर्स इट फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल टॉक्ड अबाउट निगोशिएशंस, पॉलिटिकल सॉल्यूशन, okay, and then danda and bhed last options to be used, okay, last resort. So this is how you should talk about statecraft. Now some of the examples mentioned in the article: security challenges, we all know, militancy in Jammu and Kashmir, major security challenge, then Maoism in central and eastern India, insurgency in northeast India, pro-Khalistan movement in Punjab, and likely revival of LTT, liberation tigers of Tamil Eelam, because of the Sri Lankan crisis that is going on, and there are chances that in Sri Lanka itself this LTT may become active, finding some kind of links with Tamil Nadu. ठीक है, तो ये सारे सिक्योरिटी चैलेंजेस आर्टिकल में डिस्कस किए, सम ऑफ देम वी विल डिस्कस हियर. फॉर एग्जांपल मिलिटेंसी इन जम्मू एंड कश्मीर. Now especially yes, after 2019 reorganization of Jammu and Kashmir happened. Initially the government had strong security presence in Jammu and Kashmir, but slowly it reduced the security cover. There was opening of the economy and the restrictions were reduced. Thereafter started the violence. तो हम देखते हैं पिछले एक साल में the number of violent, number of killings of civilians and police personnel have increased. Okay, police personnel as well as civilians, especially Kashmiri Pandits. Kashmiri Pandits who are being rehabilitated by the government with some incentives. Okay, so the targeted killings are happening. Now the unique feature of this killing is that those militants are homegrown militants. They are not, let's say, infiltrated across the border, although they find some kind of links, funding, or let's say ideological links with the let's say non-state actors in the neighboring country. But these militants are homegrown, ठीक है, local है, and that's why basically they are finding some support by the local people, and the dissatisfaction caused due to reorganization of Jammu and Kashmir is one of the major reason. So it is political cause, no? Reorganization of state is not by the security establishment. It is by the political establishment. So it is important aspect that the government should use statecraft to reach out the people of Jammu and Kashmir, implement some good policies and programs so that the local support to militancy is reduced. ये बहुत ज़रूरी है. ऑलरेडी यूपीएससी हैज़ आस्क्ड इन 2019 और 21 क्वेश्चन रिलेटेड टू लोकल सपोर्ट टू मिलिटेंसी इन जम्मू एंड कश्मीर, हाउ टू कट इट, ऐसे डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन था. ठीक है, तो आपको ये चीज़ पता होनी चाहिए. इट द स्टेट क्राफ्ट इज इन्वॉल्व हियर, ऑल्सो डीलिंग विद द लोकल पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज एंड पॉलिटिशियंस. ओके, टेकिंग देम इनटू कॉन्फिडेंस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. आइसोलेटिंग देम इज नॉट द सोल्यूशन. तो ये भी एक स्टेट क्राफ्ट है, political solution, because those politicians, they you can say their voice will be listened by the local people. ठीक है, तो ये सारा चीज़ें आपने वहाँ पे बताना चाहिए. Then Maoism, it is considered as one of the most, we can say, or difficult challenge that our country is facing, internal security challenge. The uniqueness of Maoism as compared to other ones is that it is having strong ideological base. It is having strong ideological base. It finds ideology in the philosophy of or ideology of Maoism. Okay, so as compared to others जो है वो sporadic है, ठीक है, they are not having strong ideological base, but Maoism in the country is having this strong, we can say, ideological base. And in 1960s and 70s, Charu Majumdar provided strong leadership to these Naxalists, and recently we can say there is weak leadership, but we should understand the violent instances have not come down. Violent instances have not come down, and they are also finding some kind of support in rural India and in recent times in urban India also, especially urban intellectuals. That's why the concept, the new phenomenon of urban Naxalism. ठीक है, तो ये जो ideological aspect है ना, it is finding some kind of liking or we can say the support in urban areas also. वही यही मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि अर्बन एरियाज में इंटेलेक्चुअल्स का एक इनडायरेक्ट सपोर्ट है, आइडियोलॉजिकल सपोर्ट फॉर प्रोपगेशन ऑफ दिस फिलोसफी, ऑल्दो दे मे नॉट बी प्रोपगेटिंग द वायलेंस एंड ऑल दिस थिंग्स, but surely the ideological propagation is one of the major base for this particular movement, right? So how to find the solution here? Again, the political aspect is important because securities establishment have limitations here, because when they take action, again the killing of innocent people happens, civilians happens, and in that ambush, and because of that again the violence cycle is continued. ठीक है, वो जो फीलिंग तैयार होती है लोकल्स में वो एक्सप्लॉइट की जाती है फिर से नक्सल्स के द्वारा. Okay, so this is how it continues. That's why the political solution, and political solution is again we can say negotiations with these leaders, talks, okay, dialogue, negotiations with the leaders. So they can be asked to put down the weapons and they can be provided with some kind of we can say incentives to get back into the mainstream society. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे भी पॉलिसीज एंड प्रोग्राम्स बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल सरेंडर कम रिहैबिलिटेशन स्कीम ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट that needs to be implemented properly. The presence of government and governance in this red corridor region needs to be strengthened, increased. ये सारी चीज़ें impact करेगी, local support cut off होगा. ठीक है? Yes. So yes, the other examples in the similar manner they are giving here. Okay, not discussed in detail. You should know the revival of Prokalistani movement can be, can happen. Although at present there is no strong presence in India. The Prokalistani movement and let's say these establishments are there in England and other European countries. Okay, but recent attack in police station in Mohali, claimed by Prokalistani group, Babbar Khalsa. Okay, so that also suggests resurgence of Prokalistani group, a movement. ठीक है? Yes. So a way forward should be a properly structured set of policies having liberal doses of statecraft in addition to the proper set of security measures is the best answer to India's needs, or we can say now and in future. India needs at present as well as in future. ठीक है, तो policies plus statecrafts, that is political aspect, negotiations and all these things, concessions, reconciliation, all these aspects are related to politics. ठीक है, okay, so especially PSIR optional subject के लिए काफ़ी important है. The status of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Okay, yes, let us understand the present status. There is map given. Through map also we'll understand this. Yes, what's the current status of invasion? You should know that when Russia started the invasion of Ukraine on 24th February this year, it started the invasion along three fronts. Which are these three fronts? From its annexed Crimean Peninsula, southern side, then eastern side, already it was having dominance in Donetsk and Luhansk region from this side, and from northern side Belarus is there, from Belarus, on these three fronts. At present there is some kind of we can say victory by Russia from southern front and eastern front, but Ukraine has successfully defended this Kharkiv city, the second largest city of Ukraine, from the northern front. तो यहाँ पे उनका लॉस काफ़ी है जो रशिया का है. Okay, this is the present situation. So almost all Donetsk and Luhansk region, ठीक है, ये जो provinces है ये सारा का सारा, now Russia has claim over this. You should also understand that Russia has taken over control of important port city of Mariupol. Okay, Mariupol is important port city as well as the iron and steel industry in this port city that has been taken over. Along with that, the neo-Nazi group, the military group which was accommodated into Ukraine army, it was stationed here at Mariupol. तो ये भी एक important win है, क्योंकि what was the aim of Russia of this invasion? First of all, you should know demilitarization and denazification of Ukraine. This is what Russian President Mr. Putin had said, the objective. But there are other stated objectives by different, like Foreign Minister of Russia says that the priority is to Donetsk, taken control over Luhansk and Donetsk provinces. Okay, so such kind of conflicting objectives are still there and the war still continues. There are, we can say, no signs of peace or dialogue here. Then what does Russia want? Just now we talked about that. Mr. Putin had said that demilitarization and denazification, while the other leaders, they are saying that the priority is these two regions. Now, uniqueness of this is that Maklaw and Odessa, these cities at present they are under control of Ukraine. If suppose they are won by Russia, the complete link with sea is cut off and Ukraine will become landlocked country. It will impact its economy because it is largely industrial nation depending on exports, especially exports of, we can say, steel and other important material, capital goods, along with food grains. Wheat is important exporting food grain, and that is also affected here. Okay, now haven't the sanctions hit the Russian economy? Yes. Surely you can say that yes, the Western sanctions have affected the ruble, the economy and the currency of Russia. But you should also understand that this war has increased the prices of crude oil and natural gas in the international market. Ultimately, it is benefiting whom? Russia. It is one of the largest exporter. So it is benefiting Russia itself. Second thing, you should understand that the war has not affected the legitimacy of Mr. Putin in Russia. It is still believed that 80% of Russians support the leadership. So this further strengthens the claim of Mr. Putin. ये जो उन्होंने शुरू किया है invasion. Okay, so that's why we can say that although it is affecting its economy, but still the local civilian support is there to the leadership. So all these aspects you should talk about. Is there a peace process at present? At present there is no peaceful solution or dialogue going on, although the leadership in Ukraine is continuously demanding the talks, deliberation, dialogues, but Mr. Putin has clearly said that the dialogue is not on the table now. ठीक है, तो ये है present situation. The map is important. Some of the names of the cities. Mariupol is the port city, coastal city. Sea of Azov, you should know. This is Strait of Kerch, connecting Sea of Azov and what is this? Black Sea. Okay, ये आपको पता होना चाहिए. Sea of Azov and Black Sea locations. Okay, fine. Now, India's changing goalposts over coal. Yes, let's understand. Now, why is the move away from the coal so important? Yes, first of all, you should know that dependence on fossil fuels, it has led to increased pollution, also increased import bill. They are costly. Also, majority of them we are importing. We don't have that much resources. Especially we can say crude oil and natural gas. Although we have coal, but that is polluting source. Okay, so that aspect, and along with that, the Paris Agreement and our commitments to this agreement. For that purpose also we have to reduce the dependence on the coal. Especially the Glasgow summit has said that we need to phase down coal. The statement of Glasgow summit had said that we need to, yes. So again it will be pressure on India to shift from coal. So ये सारे reason आप बोल सकते हैं वहाँ पे. Okay, fine. Now, yes, what is the extent of India's dependence on coal? Yes, you should know some facts in terms of pollution also. Coal is, causing double pollution than natural gas and 60% more than crude oil. उसमें भी कंपैरिजन आपको पता होना चाहिए. 1 kg of coal and 1 kg of natural gas and 1 kg of, if we take crude oil, and when we are burning them, coal is more polluting. It is doubly polluting, or we can say pollutes double as compared to natural gas and 60% more than the crude oil. Then talking about India's dependence on coal at present, 51.5% of total power production is from coal. 51.5% in the country, around 6% from natural gas based power production, and at present around 29% from renewable energy. We want to increase this to 45% by 2030 power production. Okay, so this is the situation. India's dependence still more than 50% energy or power production, electricity comes from coal based or coal fired thermal power plants. Okay, now how has the war made India's move away from the coal difficult? We wanted to shift to natural gas based power production, but in last 1 year almost 3 times natural gas prices increased, almost 3 times in 1 year, especially the impact of Ukraine war. Okay, so this situation is not, we can say, viable, beneficial for us to shift towards natural gas based power production. At present, many of natural gas based plants are defunct due to various reasons. They are defunct. Okay, so established capacity itself we are not realizing. So adding new capacity is again problematic, high, costly we can say, because of high price of raw material or input. Yes, then is there a coal availability crisis that is exacerbating our problems? Yes, to some extent this is also true. At present what is happening is there is sudden increase in demand, power demand, especially after the pandemic, economic recovery happened, and this was not expected by the government. And especially during this summer, what happened? Excess temperatures. So for cooling purpose, again power demand increased. So it peaked in May. And we did not have sufficient coal reserves with all these coal fired thermal power plants. तो इसकी वजह से ये जो है crisis शुरू हो गया है. Several power blockades, especially in southern states, happened. Okay, and it is expected that this will continue in next 2-3 months. Okay, so this is the present situation we are facing, and international coal prices are also very high. The states are reluctant to import that. States are requesting the central government, or let's say PSU, Coal India, to import that, and recently government agreed to this. So Coal India will import that coal and distribute among the states. ये एक situation है अभी right now. Fine. So GS3 paper economy part and environment section also in terms of pollution. Fine. Now Modi releases PM cares benefits to COVID orphans. So yes, the details of this scheme you should be aware. PM's care scheme for children orphaned by the COVID pandemic. See, when this pandemic started, many of the people died, which resulted into, many children became orphan. Their parents, both parents died, and the Supreme Court especially intervened and said, asked the government to take certain measures to protect them. Okay, so then the government came with this scheme from the PM Cares Fund. The government said that we will provide some benefits to those orphaned due to pandemic. So all children who have lost both parents, the lone surviving parent or the legal guardian or the adoptive parent or parents due to COVID-19 after March 11, 2020 up to February 28, 2022. This date was extended recently. Okay, so they are covered under this. At present the benefits are given to around 4,000 children. ठीक है, यहाँ पे कहीं मेंशन किया होगा, आर्टिकल में मेंशन किया हुआ है. To avail this scheme, child should not have turned 18 on the date of death of his or her parents. Okay, so he is minor. Then educational aid scheme announces this scheme was announced on May 29, 2021. Provides gap funding for the education and health, a monthly stipend from the age of 18 years apart from lump sum amount of 10 lakh rupees when the beneficiary turns 23 years. Basically the government will keep aside 10 lakh rupees for that child. It will invest in some equities or somewhere. From that it will earn some kind of interest, and that will be provided as stipend. That will be provided as stipend to these children for those 5 years. All children will be enrolled as beneficiaries under Ayushman Bharat scheme, a health insurance cover of 5 lakh. Okay. Other benefits like we can say they will be provided the school education, in free school education in government school, uniform, books. If the child is learning in a private school, such kind of reimbursement can be given. ठीक है, the fee waiver can be given. ये सारे benefits भी है साथ साथ. Then Ministry of Women and Child Development shall be nodal ministry for execution of scheme at the central government level. And at district level, basically the district magistrates shall be the authority. उनको आइडेंटिफाई करने से डिस्बर्स करने तक सारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी दी गई है डिस्ट्रिक्ट मैजिस्ट्रेट्स को. ओके, नाउ 10 Pacific Island nations reject China Security Pact. Okay, from IR section you should be aware that the proposal named Common Development Vision to Pacific Island nation. This proposal provided for, we can say, the proposed pact would see Beijing trained Pacific Island police become involved in cyber security, expand political ties, conduct sensitive marine mapping, and gain greater access to the natural resources on the land and water in the Pacific Islands. So it involved huge amount of investment, financial aid, the prospects of potentially lucrative China's Pacific Island free trade agreement, and access to China's vast market. So indirectly it wanted to have some kind of political, economic as well as strategic cooperation with these island nations. Right? So, but this was rejected because all these Pacific Islands, they take decision on consensus basis. Important decisions जो है region पे consensus basis पे लेते हैं. Okay, so there was no consensus among all these island nations to join this initiative. Fine? Okay. What should be answer to this one? Yes, so such kind of questions with some factual aspect, government schemes पे factual aspect जरूर पूछता है यूपीएससी statements में. Okay, so yes, the question is saying incorrect statement about PM care scheme for children. Okay, so to avail the scheme, child should not have turned 18 on the date of death of his parent. So this is actually correct statement, right? It provides lump sum amount of rupees 15 lakh. This is incorrect. It is 10 lakh rupees. So this statement is incorrect. So we need not to go even read the further statement. Although you should read in the examination. ठीक है? हाँ. Yes, yes. In addition to that. In addition to that. Yes, yes. Okay, so these two are correct statements. So incorrect statement is B1. Okay, any question? Okay, let us stop then. Fine.
So this monthly stipend will be till 23 years.
Till 23 years, and thereafter the 10 lakh rupees will be also given.
And finally closed.
Yes, it will be closed after 23 years. It is expected that higher education will be completed, the person will be getting job or something like that. Okay? Yes.